need, as Catholics, those of us who are Catholic, need to pay not only attention to our sacramental foundations of our faith, but also to the biblical dimensions of our faith. And Vatican II pushed us in this direction, but we haven't yet followed that satisfactorily either. So.
And just one more question from the maybe answer that.
Thank you. Two questions. I'm sorry. The first one, did you say that there is a drop of consciousness in the human race? Did you?
A drop of consciousness? No, I think I look at human consciousness from a cosmological point of view, which is what Teilhard wanted us to do too. What happens in humans is that the cosmos, for the first time, at least as far as we know, at least in its terrestrial precincts, has become conscious of itself for the first time, and also endowed with freedom, a sense of responsibility that allows it to, in some sense, transform the world that we find ourselves in. So I'm looking at consciousness cosmologically. There are other ways to look at consciousness, psychologically, neurologically, historically, and so forth. But from the cosmological point of view, what we are is the cosmos awakening and becoming conscious of itself for the first time, which gives us a kind of sense of dignity that we did not have in a pre-Darwinian world. And that's another dimension of what I mean when I talk about the search for something that can motivate us and lift up our hearts. And that's our new cosmic responsibility.
Right. What I wanted to ask was this, that Teilhard mentioned that the thread of evolution should go on from now on the line of conscious choices, or on the line of consciousness, or complexification of consciousness,
Yes.
in the terms that is used.
Yeah.
And from there, neuroscientists have picked on from there. And now there are researches going on saying that there is a guard gene, maybe familiar with BMAT2, or other research is going on for the locus of the religious experience, or not religious, the spiritual experience in the brain, and they have localized these experiences.
Yeah.
Then that tells us, from taking us closer to the philosophy of Teilhard, that God being an element, or maybe the overarching element that evolves through the creation, we need to now negotiate with these proposals of the material locus of religious experience within the brain.
Yes.
So how would you
Yes,
negotiate?
there are different levels of understanding and explanation, and neurological explanation is one, and Teilhard would have pushed all the different sciences in their exploration of consciousness. All he was saying is that even at the end of all that, if you're a non-reductionist, you allow for a plurality of levels of explanation. Reductionism is the suppression of explanatory pluralism. It's insistent that there is only this particular level of explanation. But you also have to approach consciousness cosmologically. That's a perspective that not many people take, and also socially too, because our consciousness is not just inside; it's part of our belonging to a group of humans. And for Teilhard, the chief criterion of, let's say, of evolutionary advance, if you will, of evolutionary progress, I don't like to use that word, is the increase in complexity that is accompanied by a corresponding growth in the intensity of consciousness. So now at the planetary level, something like planetary brain, sometimes Teilhard is called the prophet of the internet, because he predicted that we would have a new kind of planetary consciousness emerging. The only caution he had about that, and this makes him different from so much of the transhumanism today, is that he said nothing's going to go anywhere without the practice of a great hope held in common and the practice of love. And this was the evolutionary role of Christianity and religions, is to promote the virtues which alone will bring about a true complexity that will be accompanied by a larger sense. And here he's saying, I'm doing nothing more than commenting on St. Paul in the age of science.
I think it's almost time, so please, we will stop here, and please put your hands together and then thank Professor John Hart for a wonderful presentation and sharing with us his insights. Break. Hope you are able to re-energize yourself. For the second talk, it's by Father Job Kolamdaram, and I'm not sure, many people always, even including our assistant, she will say, I better stop with Father Job. Don't ask me to say the second name in a way. It's a bit difficult in a way. But I think Father Job is a Jesuit priest who obtained his master's degree in physics from India and then a doctorate in history and philosophy of science from University of Maryland in 1986. He has been, since then, he has been teaching philosophy of science and religion at Pontifical Institute in Pune, which is called Jnana Diba Vidyabit. And where I also studied my theology. So, but unfortunately, I didn't do my philosophy there, so I didn't have Father Job as my teacher. And he was also president of that institute until last year, I suppose, yeah. And he's a pioneer in promoting science and religion in India. I mean, it's if you think of science and religion then in India, then probably Father Job will be the face. In a way. And he has established 2 centers. One of them is the Indian Institute of Science and Religion in Pune. And the Pune Institute offers master's degree as well as a doctoral program in science and religion. And his first book, The Discovery of Kepler's Laws, The Interaction of Science, Philosophy, and Religion, has won many awards, and he has authored many books as well as a scientific article. So we are very happy to have Father Job today to talk about science and religion in India, as well as thinking about a Eastern wing in terms of like this interaction. So please welcome Father Job for this presentation.
First of all, let me thank Professor John Salvamani and other organizers of this seminar for giving me an opportunity to come over here and share some of my views. Since the time is very limited, let me go into the matter right away. We had a wonderful talk by Professor Hart. As we know, he has given a beautiful display of how much science-religion dialogue has achieved over the decades. Tremendous progress has been made over the decades in this science-religion dialogue. I've been involved in it for the last 40 years. I've been reading Professor Hart's book from 1980 onwards, 81 onwards. So, many have been involved in this this movement. Let us call it as a movement. And tremendous progress has been made in science-religion dialogue. As we say, science-religion dialogue has come of age, as it were. I remember in 1979, when I went to Fordham University in search of my doctoral thesis, I spoke to Father Norris Clark, SJ, Jesuit, very highly respected philosopher, very, very highly respected, fine Jesuit, fine scholar, everything. So when I told him I want to do my PhD in philosophy, in science and religion, he stared at me, and that stare sort of meant that this Indian, what does he know about, the topic he is plunging into? Science, religion. He says science is as big as the Pacific Ocean, and religion is even bigger. And where in the world are you going to have a dialogue between this? So he discouraged me totally. So I had to sort of give up my my plan, because I said, I'm not, if he cannot help me, others are not going to help me at all. So I went into Johannes Kepler, and that is where I did my doctorate. Okay, now you see, that was 1979, but today the situation has changed tremendously. Tremendous progress we made. And so this is very good and very happy, at least personally I'm very happy, and all of us are happy about it. But one thing I feel and I'm sort of concerned that the contribution from the Eastern tradition, has not come in sufficiently to this whole movement of science-religion dialogue. You see, when I say East, I'm not talking about East geographically or geographically or locally. I'm talking about Eastern tradition, certain deep insights of Eastern tradition. Western tradition, I think a lot of insights and a lot of things have come in. Of course, much more can be done in the Western tradition also, but the Eastern one somehow has not become part of this whole movement, and this is very important, particularly in today's world of globalization. In a globalizing world, we are trying to have one world, as it were, that some of the airlines have got one world, one airline like thing. So that globalizing, in a globalizing world, this contribution also has to come in. And that's one thing. Secondly, I think the Eastern traditions, Eastern intuitions have a lot to contribute to this, you see. And so I've been concerned about this particular aspect for many years, many decades. And I still don't have any answer to this, how to bring it in. And I tried to talk to my colleagues in India. No, I'm not getting any satisfactory answer from them. They are all concerned about it. And I think Templeton has funded huge programs, at least one or two I know, programs for this, specific for this. I was trying to get some reports of it, not much, but it is still not come. So this is a concern of mine. I'm trying to express this one in today's presentation. I don't have any answer, any clear-cut answer to it. So it's going to be an exploratory paper, thinking aloud, as it were. Okay, and so I try to situate this whole. What is happening? This is not moving. Okay. All right. Very good. Now it's all right. How do you got this one? Let me just see. Yeah, but it is. It's only on this only or what? Okay. 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 The first. So let me share some of my ideas. The nature and mission of science-religion dialogue. Okay. What is science-religion dialogue all about? Of course, some of you are already experts in it, so this would be very, very elementary. But since I want to situate my concern in the overall picture of science-religion dialogue, I'm bringing in some of these aspects, so that the concern can be focused bit more precisely. It's an attempt to bring together the latest findings of modern science and the deepest insights of religions, in the plural, in order to build up a better humanity, a better world. And this is at least for me, this is the purpose of science-religion dialogue. And by scientific findings, I include not just scientific data, but also the scientific temper, scientific attitude, scientific worldview, perspective, method, etc. Similarly, insights of religion, this would mean not just certain teachings of religions, but also certain aspects of the collective wisdom of the believing communities. Okay, so how to use these two tremendous sources of ideas, sources of experience, to build up a better humanity, a better world. And this is the primary goal, as far as I'm concerned, of science-religion dialogue. Science-religion dialogue is premised on the conviction that both of them have much in common. Both science and religion have much in common. And this commonality can serve as a powerful platform for a healthy and creative interaction. For instance, both science and religion work for the betterment of humanity. So when I say science, I mean true science, as it was mentioned in the Vatican II documents, that concluding remarks there, concluding message. True religion and true science. A lot of things go by way of science, and a lot of things go by religion. For instance, fundamentalism, I don't consider fundamentalism as a religion. It's a distortion of religion. And if you want to call it distortion also part of religion, fine. But otherwise, for me, fundamental